Hey guys, so I just wanted to jump on and give you a couple of thoughts that you just might consider on this Easter holiday. So for me, the biggest, most terrifying truth that I'm figuring out daily is that this journey never ends. That just about the time that we believe we've got it figured out, there's a whole nother paradigm shift that takes place. There's a whole nother level that our thinking goes to. And so a lot of times folks want to talk about Easter, and they want to talk about how Jesus, he laid down his life, and he did that so that you could maybe, possibly go to heaven. Now that's if you make the right decision. And a lot of times people are bound up because of this truth that they believe that requires you to do something to earn God's love. And what I want to encourage you to think about this Easter is that just an idea, okay? Just consider it, okay? So here we were going along, and man was getting more confused and more confused and more confused about what the relationship was with God, right? There were all these sacrifices. There was all this going, to the curtain to tell everything that we've done, and, bringing our sacrifice year after year. And so just a thought. The word says that God was in Jesus reconciling the whole world to himself. What if it wasn't that all of a sudden we had to have this moment where now we must decide or choose or not choose, hell or heaven, smoking or non-smoking? What if God's extravagant love said, I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna do this thing with skin on, and I'm gonna show them what the God kind of life looks like. So he came here and he had all the challenges that we have. And he was tapped into the resurrected power, complete resurrected power, before it was even needed, right? Because Jesus was walking around and he was straight up bringing people right back from the dead, wasn't he? Okay? And he was touching folks and he was healing them. And Jesus was sure that if he said it, it was going to take place. Imagine what the mindset must be like to just say it and know that it's going to happen, to be sure of the power that much. And man, well, of course, we had been conditioned for this bloodshed thing, right? And so we completely crucified Jesus. And there was never a moment where God turned his back on himself. God was in Jesus reconciling the whole world to himself. And then on Easter, we want to talk about that, he was buried and he came back, and wow, no other guy had been able to come back before, from completely dead 3 days. But then we kind of stopped there. Like, what happened then, right? Even after he had faced this incredible, horrible, just totally slaughter-filled moment at the hands of the people he created. Then it says that he ascended. Well, what does that mean? To me, that means not only did he take off, but that here. So he had come onto the earth, believed in the power, and the mindset change completely had him right at the right hand of the Father. And what if that whole entire thing was just to remind us of what a life looks like connected to God? What a confident, power-filled life looks like. What if We've spent our whole lives being afraid of a place that is simply a distraction and is actually impacting our walk every day because we're so obsessed with talking about it. And what if all of these decisions that we see people make as they walk down the altar and they say these beautiful prayers, and then 2 weeks later they stick a gun in their mouth? What are we missing? Are we preaching a God that is powerful enough to step into somebody's mess even in their unbelief? Or are we preaching a God that can only come in our presence if a certain number of things has happened? And what kind of God is that? Now, I catch a lot of flack. I catch it from my family, my very close family. I catch it from complete strangers. I catch it from friends. But I'm sorry, on Easter, I don't think that anyone out there should make a decision to allow themselves to see what the God kind of life is like based on anything except for the unconditional love of God, that He was willing to step down into our mess and say, hey, you know this veil that you keep thinking you got to go through? Yo, I'm yours. You're mine. You don't got to go through somebody else to get to me. And if God was in Jesus reconciling the whole world to Himself, then God was saying, you don't need someone else that you have to go through to get to me. And that's good news. So that means that all of the people that you fall asleep bawling your eyes out because you believe that they're in hell because they never said a prayer, I think that you can rest knowing that good dads never, ever, ever, ever create places just so that their children can be separate from them. That's not what good dads do. And on this Easter, I just want you to consider what it might be like if you focused on a heaven-based life versus a hell one. Just an idea. Happy Easter. I love sharing my thoughts with you. Have a beautiful night. Word.